right, we are live, you guys. Hey, you guys, I see a bunch of you all in there. I got Bree on the line too.
Hey guys, we got over 30 people already. My goodness, that was fast.
You know what? I've been taking a peek, and they actually have been sneaking in there since a quarter to seven,
Oh my
or I
goodness.
guess a quarter to eight your time. Go ahead.
They were ready to talk about everything going on this Friday.
I
I,
know,
I,
I know. What did you think about both shows over the past? There was a couple days, like the day that Audra got fired was pretty good, and then I would say I was more interested in on Bold about the whole Carter Hope thing. So, but that's it for me this week.
to be honest, I kind of tuned out from Bold, except for today's episode. And I'm going to warn everybody now, there will be a roasting of Taylor Hayes, Forrester, Hamilton, whatever last thing you're going to give her, for the way she was acting today. But Y&R has been pretty steady. It's been pretty interesting for me.
Yep, I got you. All right, so welcome you guys to Soap Corner Talk, where myself T and I got Bree. We're going to be recapping both The Young and the Restless and The Bold and the Beautiful for the week of September 30th through October 4th. And what we normally do, we break down the week, this previous week, for The Young and the Restless first. We do a little bit of housekeeping before we break down The Bold and the Beautiful. And then we have segments at the end, like Flip the Script, Who's Taking Several Seats, our Star of the Week, and our Pickle of the Week. So, yeah, this is normally where, this is the podcast, as I know I've been going live during the day, and we had our midweek chat on Wednesday, Bree and I. Yeah, but this particular live we've been doing probably for a little over 2 years now. So, for those that are new to the channel, welcome. Make sure all of you are hitting that like button. Make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure that your notifications are turned on. So every time a video or a live or some spoilers or whatever video is happening, you'll get notified. All right?
All right.
Okay, so I'm going to read the summary. We're going to start with Young and the Restless for this week. And then I'm going to read the summary, and then we'll break it all down. So give me 1 second. Let's see. Okay, Y&R.
Ooh.
What's the matter?
I blinked and it's 73 people in the chat. My goodness, y'all.
Wow. Okay. All right.
I literally blinked.
All right. So Sharon covers her tracks and Billy refuses to back down. A cryptic text throws Nate for a loop, and Audra and Kyle declare war. Kyle gets Audra fired, and Daniel receives devastating news. Lily hatches a new plot with Victor, and Sharon learns that Heather's body was found. And then Chance tips off Daniel about Heather's autopsy, and Sharon prepare to cover her tracks. All right, where you want to start, girl?
Man, there was a lot of moving parts this week with Y&R. I guess we can go ahead and, get over the the Audra and Kyle thing.
Mm-hmm.
And get through that. And first of all, I'll be the first one to say I'm happy that she got fired. I think that this should be a learning lesson for her. Like, when a man gives you a company, take it. Otherwise, you risk being fired as an employee, which Victor didn't fail any of us. We knew exactly what he was about to do. But the lengths that Kyle went to solidify him as the sole CEO of Glissade was like, he can't come back from that. I can't see Jack taking him back over to Jabot after doing that. But it does open a door for Audra, if she were able to find out especially since she's looking for a job now.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought this was just great. This is exactly what Audra deserved, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I when I first saw this episode, I was, as my kids said, I'm screaming. I was like, that's what she get.
Yeah, I
because
agree.
because we've been saying this for months. Even the time when Tucker had faked a heart attack and then he was fine and trying to stall for time, that was back in the spring. And
Mm-hmm.
he said, "Look, I don't want it. You can have it. I'll sign everything over to you." She had to win. She just couldn't take, the offer and just because he wanted to give it to her. That's too easy. She wanted to beat him according to her. When technically it was just a business transaction where money changed hands and you were the middle person.
Basically, she was just a referral,
That's
and she just
it.
happened. And Victor offered her a job position, which was always contingent on what Victor decides to do that day. It was never a permanent position. She didn't sign anything saying that she's going to be the sole CEO or anything. Because I think day one, Victor's like, no, you're going to do things my way. And she
Mm-hmm.
had to abide by that. He's like, I want Kyle over there. She had to kiss up to Kyle so she can try to keep her position. She
Mm-hmm.
had to go through all of these hoops and everything to keep a job position when she had a whole company to herself that was offered to her,
Yeah.
where she wouldn't have to go through any of this.
She
Free and
would
clear.
she wouldn't have to worry about Kyle, Victor, nobody else. The company is hers. It's her stamp of approval on it in her name. She could take that company and take it all the way to the stars, or she can run it in the ground. It would have been hers. But you decide
Mm-hmm.
to create, as you call it, be a referral, and then
Mm-hmm.
take an employee position that you can be fired from, which of course, fast forward to, what was that, October 2nd episode? You're
Mm-hmm.
fired. That's what she get. I don't
Yeah.
feel sorry for her. And I know I saw some people in the chat on Wednesday, both chats, that, Victor was being petty, but Audra already knows this. She done been through this before with the Newmans, with his wife over at Newman Media.
Yep. Where she was fired basically for no reason. But still,
Exactly.
this is what it means to be an employee. If you have no ownership of that company, you're subject to whatever could happen to your job. Like, that was so stupid on her part. And Melissa Spencer, I completely agree. She she needs to take that mattress down to the street corner and make her living laying on her.
Girl, that's why I'm like, Audra, you know what? You set yourself up for failure. Nate tried to tell you, and then you turn around and decided to want to get mad at him and use your gender as a way that he was trying to subjugate you or something because you were a woman. No, he was telling you the truth because he'd been through it as a man. Of course, he's going to pass on the information to anybody who would listen. Not telling you, oh, you don't think that I can do this because you wouldn't be telling me this if I was a man. No, he's telling you this because he knows how Victor is.
Yeah. And she hasn't learned anything yet come Monday's episode.
Nope. She's doing the exact same thing that Lily's about is doing right now. Lily
They
gets,
wanted the same.
yeah, they're one and the same. Lily gets, get the boot, and now she wants to fight for the position. So what is Audra gonna do? She got the boot, and now she's talking about, I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna fight. You gonna go up against Victor Newman?
Yeah, that was comical to me. It's like, I don't care who it is. I'm going to play with the big dogs. Like, I'm going to, Victor and Kyle are not going to know what's going to come to them. Okay. Okay. We shall see.
Now I can see if she can take down Kyle, cause we gotta talk about him too, cause he was wrong. But
Yeah.
Victor, yeah, okay. Good luck with that.
Girl, What does she got in her pocketbook? I think that she about to go up against Victor. You were just his employee.
And don't think you can use your box to get one over on him, because I don't think he really cares about that from you.
No, absolutely not. If that were the case, she would have been in that position. She would have been in Nikki's position, technically. She would have been in the house, in the stables, everything. He said, no, I'll pass on that. He said, you're good as a businesswoman. That is it. That is all.
Bree, do you remember a couple of weeks ago when she was sitting in his office and she tried to finesse him? He wouldn't even look at her. He was in his phone and dismissed her and told her to close the door behind. And she was looking like, oh, okay. Girl, he ain't checking for you.
Nope. He's seen that mattress has stains on it. It's been turned a couple times. He's like, no, I like what I like right now, and that's Nikki. But she had more leeway with Tucker, to be honest, because Tucker wouldn't. Yeah. So how is she gonna take down Victor? She gonna run back to Tucker? Nate can't help her. None of the people in Genoa City really like her. Sally's not going to do anything to help her. What is she going to do?
Girl, please. Here's the thing. If she try to do something to the Newman company or whatever, Victor will ruin her. She might as well hightail it out of Genoa City.
Yeah.
You know. Go ahead.
I was going to say, if she gets a severance package, she better take it. And go about her business. Unlike some people on this show.
Jenna says that she's fine with Kyle for now. The only problem with that is Kyle is riding on his high horse. And if you seen Monday's episode, Claire kind of said, don't let it, you're going to fall on your face if you don't watch it.
She had a lot of nerve.
Yeah, I thought about that, but that's a discussion for Monday. But yeah, I thought about I know what you're talking about. Yeah, but Kyle decided to steal the new moisturizer secret from Jabot because Diane stupidly left her computer open, and he took that information and gave it to Victor and got her fired on the same note.
And you know what? I agree with Jenna on this. I'm fine with Kyle for now because Diane needs to learn this lesson. If she is COO, the bare minimum is to keep all of the stuff that pertains to her job secure, safe and secure. Why does she think leaving her computer open with the password? It took him, a couple of clicks to get that information? You let your computer open with your password. Anybody could walk into that house. Summer could have walked in. The maid. Like anybody could have been at that computer. And you know your son is now the enemy. And you're going to just leave that wide open. But she's going to be the same person crying about how people are not taking her seriously. Well, we see why.
Yep, and Jenna waiting for the downfall. The cracks are forming in that relationship because they got into a whole argument over society, Jack and Diane. And it started because Jack was concerned about his brother. And Diane was like, we got a lot of other stuff to think about than worrying about Billy. And that didn't sit well with Jack. And then it turned into this whole back and forth. And about them filling the COO position over at Jabot. And Jack was like, that's going to make Kyle feel some kind of way. And she was like, well, we got work to do. And then they got that argument. That's the other thing that was good on Wednesday. Wednesday was a great episode. That argument between Audra and Diane.
Because they wanted the same. That's pot calling the kettle, literally. Audra had some good clapbacks, but at the same time, it shouldn't have been an argument. She should have just let Audra just keep walking and keep moving. She chose to have an argument.
And she didn't take accountability for that because Jack said that. He said, why did you have to even say something to her? And she turned around, you taking her side. No, he's telling you the truth. That girl was walking to her seat. You stopped her, called her over, and says, when you going to get the claws out of my son? That was her. That wasn't
Yeah.
Audra. You know what I'm saying? And she, when Jack called her out on it, she said, oh, you taking her side. Girl, you started that.
Extra emotional too. You're gonna take her side over mine. Like, lady, it didn't even have to be a discussion. You could have let her keep pushing.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that. And on top of that, you're supposed to be the mature one. I can see if Audra was trying to pick fights with you, but you choosing to pick fights because you got in a fight with your husband, so you got all that energy, and you're just trying to spill it out on anybody that came your way, and it happened to be Audra. Like, that's not Audra's fault, but that those clapbacks, I was very appreciative of it, and Diane really deserved a lot of what she was getting.
Yeah.
I didn't like the way that she treated her husband about Billy. I mean, she was more than open when it came to Nikki.
Mm-hmm.
But Billy is his actual brother, and he
Right.
was just trying to pass along some advice. This is family, whereas
Mm-hmm.
Nikki wasn't. But she was perfectly fine with him making phone calls in the middle of the night, checking on her, doing her Uber Eats orders until he took things too far.
Right.
So, what was the issue with Billy? Billy's part of your family. He could walk in and out of that household clearly. Because I don't know where Billy lives at this time. So I'm assuming he lives there. But
Or at the GCAC like everybody else.
yeah. But either which way, it was just like very petty for her to be upset. Like, why are you so mad? And he's also thinking about his son in regards to that COO position, or CEO, whatever position that is.
Yeah, the COO position was the one he needed. Well, that Diane said they needed filled.
Okay. If the head of the company says, like, we can hold off for a little bit, why can't you just hold off? Like, why is she's really the main one trying to prove herself. I can see Kyle trying to prove himself over his family, but she's really trying to overcompensate and feel like she has to say all of this stuff. And if Jack is saying leave it alone, leave it be, she shouldn't be this emotional. For one, she's not even qualified for the position she's in.
Girl,
She should just be happy she has the office and the title, and the fact that people have to go back around her and clean up her mess at her job.
did you hear her talking about how he said I'm CEO of this company, and she was like, "Well, you do realize I'm co-CEO." Girl, stop smelling yourself. You've been there a good year in that Abbott company and in the Abbott family.
Yep.
You need to chill out. You need to be glad that they even accepted you back into the fold. You went
Exactly.
MIA for a decade, sashayed and sent fake texts to get Allie connected with Jack and manipulated your way back in, and then you had to deal with Jeremy. They had to deal with Jeremy Stark and deal with all this other nonsense that you brought as your garbage or your trash to town with you. And they still let you in, and now you done fired Kyle, and now you trying to throw your weight around. Now Jack ain't perfect because he shouldn't have spent the better half of the first part of this year with Nikki Newman. He should have been focused on fixing the situation between Diane and Kyle. But
Exactly.
it's a mess, and he need to take accountability for that. But Diane need to take a whole stadium of seats.
She gonna get herself fired, and then watch Audra gonna take her position because Audra is the most qualified. Diane, her resume is what real estate, architecture, nothing CEO related, nothing. Billy got more CEO position experience than she does.
Girl, they went through stealing jewelry and doing all types of unethical things to keep her situation intact.
Exactly. All of this. All of
Now
this.
they chose to do it, but this what came with her coming back into their lives, and then you want to act all entitled, girl. You don't
Yes,
go sit down
exactly.
somewhere. And usually, I have been supporting Diane redemption over this past year, and I know Jenna and Trish had it, and I know and Trish is she's doing okay. You guys, just want to let you know, she'll be back probably in a few weeks, but um, shout out to her. But her and Jenna has been the main ones, not Team Diane.
After this week, like I'm saying with you, like I was trying to give her a chance. I really
I
was.
know.
But it's this level of entitlement,
Mhm.
like, and I'm like, you have no experience. You need to humble yourself. And Jack better watch out because this is the same man who tore up the prenup too.
Yeah.
So if he's so he might end up having to walk on eggshells with this one because clearly she's off the hook and she thinks she's really running things and none of the investors, nobody wants to deal with her, work around her, nothing. So why is she feeling so entitled in that C-suite position she doesn't qualify for?
Nope.
Claire might qualify for that position over her.
And look like this is boiling over into next week. We saw it on the Friday previews for the week of the 7th through 11th, where she's mad at Jack talking about the fact you must think that I haven't changed and that I'm still that bit, what she
Mm-hmm.
said. And I'm like, don't act like one, because you're acting like one right now.
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean,
She done lost her mind, all of her marbles. And this is where I'm slightly kind of rooting for Kyle, even though he was wrong. He did not have to do that. But at the same time, she was stupid enough to leave that stuff in the house where random people can go and get that information.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I
So
mean,
it's like,
that's
oh
not
well.
smart at all. I mean, if you're working, I said this on my midday live on Wednesday. Most people that work, especially in healthcare, if you work remotely or work from home, you have to lock your computer because there's PHI or private health information, that has people, names, account numbers, medical information, things like that. Even in a regular business, you got proprietary information that you don't want just eyes walking in. There's maids around the house, gardeners,
Mm-hmm.
anybody that could walk past Diane's computer and see any and everything she had on there.
Even still, this woman had her whole password still in the system where he literally just made 2 clicks and he was able to view everything. So
Yep,
literally, Nikki could have walked in that house
yep.
and got that information. That it was just very stupid on her part, and it's going to bite her. And I think Audra's going to land her position over at Jabot, especially once she figures out what Kyle did. I think that's how she's going to get her way into a new job that she's eventually going to get fired from, because all she does is get fired from her jobs.
I know. At some point, she needs to, like, okay, what am I doing wrong? Stop blaming everybody else and ask yourself, what am I doing wrong? If you keep
Yeah.
having the same situation happen, the common denominator is you.
Yep. It sure is.
All right. Um, Other news this week, we had a conversation with Victoria and Victor was not happy about Victoria putting that offer on the table. And yeah, that conversation with the kids and Billy, Victoria was hotter than fish grease. But I mean, he was no lies detected.
It was the truth.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to really put her daddy on this pedestal, and even her children are seeing through that. They're telling their dad, like, don't let granddad bully you, dad. Like, we're proud of you and go for it. Like, we support you. Oh my goodness, she was eating crow. She really thought her kids were going to be on her side, the Newman side.
Yeah,
And
but
it was so nice to see them support their dad.
I know. I mean, I was like, Victoria, what did you expect? They have more of a closer relationship with their father than their grandfathers. Grandfathers have a place, grandmothers have a place. Mom and dad is a little bit different dynamic. And so, you know, for Victoria to think that and get mad at Billy, why don't you just take the money and why should he just take the money and walk away and you just gonna give that company to your father? Well, I'm doing it for the kids. No, you doing this twofold. Part of it is the kids. The other part is you want your mama to take that seat.
Yep, exactly. She's no different from her father because this is kind of like a Victor sort of move. And at the same time, Billy already told this woman, look, it's not even about the money. It's about just the fact I want to keep my legacy. I worked hard. I have something I want to try to prove. And I want to make sure I have options available for my kids besides them working for your granddaddy over at Newman. Mm-hmm. And I respected that. Yep. But for whatever reason, she just feels that all of her children are going to eventually just be working under the family company. Well, they got other family. So he wants to try to leave that option open for his kids. But it shows, once again, the sense of entitlement that she can just, go in her pocketbook and just buy a company and say, like, hey, I fixed it, but you're still giving your father the W, which is what Billy doesn't even want. And you're not even telling Billy as to why he's changed his tune and is focusing on going after Chancellor. And Billy did ask this woman several times.
Right.
And she just quiet.
The other part of this is I don't like Victoria projecting Billy as being the person that started this war. And it's like, he's telling her, he told her that at the office, and he told her again, I'm not coming for your father coming for me. So you need to go talk to him if you need him to stop this war. I'm just minding my business trying to run a company. He's coming after me. And Victoria's trying to make it look like, Billy, why are you doing this? And why do we have to go through this? That's a conversation for your father. But you're not going to do that, are you?
No. So she had to go behind Victor's back because she's not woman enough to face her daddy like that. Mm-hmm. And I think the kids or Billy or somebody brought it up at that table at Society about the ownership. That Victor had sold his rights, and she was like, oh, well, he still has a say. He can still say what happens. No. He sold it. So it's out of his hands. If he had a say, he would have made changes by now.
That's the equivalency of Tucker selling Glissade to Victor, but Tucker still have a say. No, he doesn't. And it doesn't, exactly. And it works the other way with Chancellor. He sold it. It's not in your hands anymore. You don't have a say-so over that company.
That's why he has to maneuver, why Victor has to maneuver the way he does, and why Lily doesn't have a position over there, because once again, all of that was sold, and Jill had passed down the level of power to Billy. So if Victor had control, do you think, I'm like, Victoria, you think Billy would have a say-so in that company? He'll be in the unemployment line.
Exactly. And thinking about unemployment line, Lily, I hate this. She's choosing to do this, but it's like, girl, she's trying to push this thing to move faster. So they had that conversation over at the Jazz Lounge, Lily and Victor. And Lily was like, you need to move now and getting Billy out of there. And Victor was like, we're going to have to take some time with this. Of course we are, Victor, because you got other plans that doesn't align with Lily being a part of it.
Exactly. And she actually acting extra pushy, so I'm assuming them checks are tight, especially since she didn't take the severance package. So I can see why she's trying to be extra pushy with Victor. But this goes to show, like, she don't know who she's really dealing with. Once again, She is banking on hopes and dreams. There's nothing in the contract that with all this effort that she's doing, she's guaranteed a position over at Jabot in her same position.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing.
Nothing.
So all this effort for nothing, and she's getting a taste of how Victor is. Like, you're gonna do this on my time frame, my schedule. And she's like, okay, well, we need to move fast, especially since they got Phyllis in the COO position. And she's really thinking that she is going to try to manipulate Phyllis to some degree.
Yeah, I don't know how she and the way that they described it is that she was going to try to figure out a way to manipulate Phyllis without even talking to her. I'm like, how you going to do that? Now, here's the caveat with this, which this situation happened with Daniel.
Mm-hmm.
Is Lily going to feel that comfortable with everything that Phyllis is going through, which I love that scene between Billy and Phyllis at the society when, oh my God, the girl had me in tears. Michelle Stafford, she rocked that scene out. I just need a friend. I don't care.
She did.
I was like, oh my God, girl, you good at this.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to try to maneuver Phyllis somehow, but I don't know if Lily is that, what's the word I want to use? Vicious? Maybe to say, okay, I'm going to, while she's in the middle of this grief, I'm going to figure out a way to manipulate her. You think Lily could go through something like that? Knowing what has happened to Heather, that should probably come out to everybody next week, right? What do you think?
To be honest, I think it's very foolish of Lily to think that she's going to, for one, outsmart Phyllis and manipulate Phyllis. This is Phyllis. She knows better than anybody. She's going to see right through Lily. She's going to see right through her. Mm-hmm. And as soon as she catches wind of what Lily's going to do, Lily better run. Because that's not somebody you really want to mess with, especially when you're trying to play mind games. And on top of that, at least Phyllis has fought for her position. She got her contract in writing. Mm-hmm. So she's going to do whatever she can to keep that. But if Lily uses like any manipulation as far as like Phyllis's emotions about what's going on with Heather or what happened to Heather, mm-hmm. that would be very disgusting on Lily's part. That would completely change the complexion of that character.
Yep.
And at the same time, she's not going to win. Mm-mm. Because when people get wind of that, and Victor, he likes to wipe his hands clean. He's going to say, like, look, we had nothing in writing. You shared this information. You chose to go after Phyllis and say this. Like, all of this effort for a job position that's not even in writing.
Yeah, she cannot let go. I mean, she could be doing something else. She could have took that multi-million-dollar severance package. They were willing, I mean, Billy threw a ton of cash at her. You could have took that money and did what you want with it. Or just go back over there and work with your brother. But you just, I'm not just going to let Billy do this to the company. You don't have a choice, ma'am. You an employee.
Yeah, exactly. Just absolutely stupid on her part. Mm-hmm. I mean, it would have actually be beneficial for her to be over at Glissade, given that she had beauty and model experience. Like, she could be like underneath Kyle as a COO or something. But for whatever reason, she feels she needs to save Chancellor from Billy. And I'm like, so then you really need to take that up with Jill and ask her why she trusted him over you.
Yeah, they really need. I can't wait till Jill get back, because I know she's going to be hotter than fish grease when it comes to finding out what Lily has done. I mean, Victor might try to figure, I don't know how Victor is going to figure this out. Because remember, this plan that Victor had started in motion back in July.
Yep.
And he was like, oh yeah, I'm in the process of acquiring Newman. And that's why he told Nikki, I'm going to put you in there to run it. So I'm thinking to myself, remember back in July, we was like, oh, okay, so he gonna go ahead and take the company. Girl, it's been what, 2.5, almost 3 months now, and they
Yeah,
still ain't got that company. At this point, I don't even know if they're gonna get it.
yeah. I don't see that happening anytime soon. And the longer that Lily waits, I'm like, girl, what you gonna do? You could have had millions. You could have been able to start your own little company, own something. But once
Mm-hmm.
again, just like Audra, just stubborn and stupid.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
See,
Stubborn and stupid.
they got this stuck on stupid syndrome that Taylor has. Just stupid.
Speaking of stupid, this whole thing between Billy and Sally and Chelsea and Adam, I'm just like, why are we doing this? Adam is
I
trying to play two in the middle.
This is just so unnecessary, and I guess he's leaning more towards Chelsea. Because I think he said something about like, oh, I was this Friday's episode? I believe it was, where he said like, oh, like I had an opportunity to save Sharon and I chose not to. I'm not focused on any other woman, and like either you guys are going to put Chelsea and Adam back together or stop with this little four-ring circle, four-ring circus, if that matter. So we can move on and move forward. I personally don't care to see Sally and Billy.
Me
That's just
either.
me.
Mm-mm.
But if they're going to do it, just get it over with. I feel there's other people they could have put Sally with and other people they could have put Billy with.
And they
But
could put Audra with Adam.
exactly. And I'm like, all this missed opportunity just to give us a rinse and repeat.
Yeah,
Why?
I don't know why they actually think that. I don't even see the chemistry between Sally and Billy.
No, I don't either. I'm trying.
Mm-mm. Nope. I mean, I'm over Sally and Adam. I have been over Sally and Adam for the last 2 years now. And Chelsea and Adam are just toxic for each other. So
Mm-hmm.
those two don't even need. And it's like, can't y'all? Adam could be with Audra.
That is like the perfect couple just waiting to happen. Like he would understand how ruthless she is. She would absolutely love the way he makes his power moves, and he has his little bad boy as part of him. Like writers, why can't you just give us this? We know you listening.
I mean, yeah, she would match. Those two could be the ultimate power couple. Because they
Yeah,
both ruthless. They'll do anything to get what they want. And if they're working on the same side, they could really work some magic together.
yeah. He's just a younger Tucker.
Pretty much. Pretty
A younger
much.
Tucker.
Yep.
And Black Pink says, I want to see Billy and Sally as a couple. How does everyone, I guess, feel about Sally and Billy as a couple?
Okay, so if you want Sally and Billy together, put a 1 in the chat. If you don't want Sally and Billy together, put a 2 in the chat. So 1 for Sally and Billy, 2 for no Sally and Billy. Let's see what we get. Oh gosh, Bree, you put a whole bunch of 2s in there.
I want to make it clear.
Jenna says 2, Gail says 2 to 2 to 2 to 2 to 2. Look like Blackpink me, you are in the minority. Look at all those 2s.
2 and 3.
Okay, Allison, what's up with the 1.5? Girl, you so funny. Yeah, look, I'm sorry, Blackpink me. It looks like it's unanimous. Nobody wants to see Billy and Sally.
No. Like, I would have been perfectly fine with putting Sally. Oh, me personally, I would love for Sally to go back to Bold, but I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. But, like, there's other people they could put Sally with personally speaking, I wouldn't mind Sally and Chance. I wouldn't mind Sally and Kyle. Like, I just cannot see her and Billy together.
Yeah, and they're doing it as a swap because those two cheated on each other. You know, Chelsea and Adam cheated on them. They figure they're going to throw them together through their pain. And then we saw Billy asking her out. I'm like, can y'all just, let the dust settle first? Because all this
Yeah,
look is rebound.
pretty much.
And especially we heard Billy telling Sally that he was over at Crimson Lights having a conversation with Chelsea and how much he loved her. And, I was looking at the woman I love until Adam came in. So obviously you still got feelings for her, but yet you want to take Sally out. Okay. And again, Adam, he tells Sally, just talk to me. I won't always thinking about you. And then you go over to Chelsea and told a bold face, well, I should say bold face lie, and tell Chelsea that, oh yeah, Sally knows that, I'm interested in you. No, she don't.
Exactly. This just mixed messages. I'm like, sir, let's leave these two women alone. There's a perfectly single woman who would gladly welcome your lies and your manipulation and the drama that comes with you. And it'll be hot love scenes.
Mm-hmm.
But oh well.
And we gotta talk about Sharon and Heather and Daniel and all of this stuff. Where you want to start, girl?
I guess we can. Oh my
Start
goodness!
from the beginning of the week, where Sharon thought she was scot-free and talking too much to everybody this week.
Yes, like the worst criminal. Like she was leaving clues out. Like, oh, maybe that's why Heather had hit her head or something like that. I forget what she said, but like at that point, Nick didn't even know what had happened. They didn't even know what the result was as to or how they found her. Like it was just very stupid on her part. And the fact that this woman is still listening to Cameron, and Cameron's telling her, well, we still need to get even with Daniel. Like, you haven't taken your meds yet still?
But she's been taking them. I think it's something else going on with this woman. Unless maybe her condition has developed into something else, and now she's talking to, I know bipolar take you in between different, that's what it's called, bipolar, it's emotional highs and lows. Mm-hmm. But she's having where she's talking to somebody that's in her head impersonating a dead person.
Yeah.
That's a little bit different. That's more schizophrenic.
That's what I was thinking, or something. The fact that she is literally talking to this person in front of, like, in the general public, too, to the point where her daughter even heard those conversations or heard her talking to somebody. And it's like, and she's just freely saying, like, yeah, I see Cameron every now and again. Like, that's not a normal thing. But yeah, we still have to see more episodes with this man in this shirt. But I just found it funny how after she sent that text message, I'm like, girl, you didn't think that GPS is going to like track where that text message it came from? It came from your house. And they're going to put those two and two together. And then the next day, she's making cookies and baking pies and muffins and brownies and all of this, pretending like everything is normal and saying, Nick, you can take me to my doctor's appointment and you can see everything is going on. And then as soon as they find out about what happened to Heather, she turns frantic. And I'm like, you going to snitch on yourself with the little itty bitty things that you do.
Yeah, and then that whole conversation in the park. Now, granted, she walked into them. She didn't go looking for them. But your thing should have been, you know what? I'm sorry for your loss and keep it moving. You don't sit up there and say, so, did they find out what happened to her? And they was like, too soon, Sharon. We don't want to talk to you about this. And then she went up to Phyllis this week as well. And I'm like, why would you talk to her?
Right. Well, actually, I was going to say before that interaction with Phyllis, Lucy was like, "Are you indicating that something happened to my mom?" So you're. I'm like, she is like leaving all these little breadcrumbs, and even this
Mm-hmm.
little girl is picking it up. Like, okay, like maybe something did happen to my mom. Are you indicating there was foul play? Like, why would this girl be saying any of this unless
Exactly.
you're trying to lead her to the cookie? And then now going to Phyllis, like it's one thing to say your condolences, but like she just kept going on and on about it. And that woman said, leave her alone. And she's looking suspicious. Even Cameron had to call that out.
Right. Like, what you doing? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she gonna end up snitching on herself. But that cell phone I think is gonna do the snitching for her.
Well, it's interesting that you say that because, of course, I don't. For those that might know, I did a video this morning for the hot teasers for next week on The Young and the Restless, where Daniel is setting up. I mean, no, Sharon is setting
Sharon.
up Daniel. And I'm telling you, there's a couple of little loose ends that don't make sense because we were wondering what she did with that bag and that bloody rag and all of that. She kept that for a reason because originally we thought she wasn't done. Remember the beginning of the week we was like, oh, like she's done yet. But I thought
Mm-hmm.
maybe she was going to try to poison him or something, or she already got rid of Heather. I thought she was maybe going to try to get rid of Daniel too. No, she want to put
Mm-hmm.
that man in jail.
Which is sick work. My goodness. And like he's gonna for one be grieving and then now facing a charge. That is insane. Like this is calculated.
I gotta
This
give
is
it to
this
the writers though, Bree. I really like the twist in this though, even though it is
me too.
bad for him, but it's
Oh yeah.
really good creative writing on, take keeping all that evidence and putting it back in that apartment to come back upon him.
I agree. I highly agree with this. Like this is the highlight of YNR, in my opinion. This storyline.
Mhm.
It was dragging at first, but they turned it around, and this actually puts a huge spotlight on Daniel's character too.
Mhm.
And like there's a lot of moving parts, and they even involve Phyllis to where we're getting this range of emotions. You were just talking about her like reaching out to Billy for support, and Michelle just killed it with those emotions. Like this is going to, I think we're going to see a lot of powerhouses with this storyline. I wouldn't be surprised if Michelle gets nominated for supporting, depending on the direction you're going to go in. But I feel it's one thing to plant all of the evidence. I can see her, well, she already did that.
Mhm.
Like, I can see how she wants to try to cover her tracks by doing that. However, that cell phone is going to be the key thing that eventually is going to get her locked up. Because the thing that I keep going back to is Daniel and Lucy were at the same place where he received a text from Heather saying that she's going to be gone and she's going to be out of town. And prior to that, he was with Lucy at GCAC. And then prior to that, he was with Phyllis in Summer. So whether she plants it there or not, he has alibis that
Mhm.
can justify his story. So then what is she going to do then? They're going to go back to that cell phone and track the GPS and see that that phone was in Sharon's house.
When it wrong, you mean?
Yeah, when it rang. And on top of that, Heather made a phone call prior to her passing.
So
She
I'm
was
wondering
Daniel.
how this now. See, this is where we would have to see if the writers are going to go that deep. Because I know we brought that up, that they could actually, with the phone calls ringing in those areas, the nearest cell phone tower,
Hmm.
it would ping off of that cell tower and wherever it's at, right? Um, the question is now, as creative as they wrote this to get this off Sharon and on the Daniel, are they going to be just as creative to go that deep? I know we see that a lot, like on the ID channel or on, like the SVUs and, things like that. So I'm curious to see how they can connect, because like you say, Daniel does have an alibi. That night he went straight from
Phyllis,
society. He
yeah,
went
with
straight
Phyllis
from
and Sam.
society over to the GCAC to pick up Lucy from community service. They sat down. He bought her ice cream. And then they left, went to a movie, and then came home, and there was no Heather. All that stuff happened between Heather and Sharon, blah, 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 blah. So there are places that he's been during the time period where they can say, well, he wasn't even there. So who was there to do all that? The question is, did she leave anything behind? So now, okay, so listen, that's why I love mysteries. And even though we knew what happened,
Hmm.
but I'm curious to see how they're going to play it out in the storyline. So, with her planting that all that evidence, including Heather's phone, because she Sharon, spoiler alert on Monday, she also plants Heather's phone in the liquor cabinet too.
Hmm.
It's gonna make it look like Daniel was lying, because they was like, well, how did the phone was right there? How do you explain that? Well, somebody text me. I didn't just text myself and walk over to the GCAC.
Exactly.
But how do
Like
you
that.
prove otherwise, though? And the bloody rags are there too.
It's I think that this was very foolish on Sharon's part, because where she left the evidence at, I'm like, why would you do that, girl? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And like some people were saying in the chat room, like, why would he put the evidence in his own home? Like, he's not Luna. Like, that just doesn't make any sense. But more importantly, that those phone calls, that's going to be a key indicator as to what happened. I think he's going to be perfectly fine. I'd be very surprised if he gets arrested for this, when there's places that they can pinpoint him at, because he has alibis and witness who can corroborate with his story that he was at these different places. And I think when Heather first saw Sharon at that house, she said, no, I spoke with Daniel and Lucy. They're at a movie. He picked her up at GCAC or da 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 da. So they had communication, and on top of that, she made a phone call, but ended that. So it shows that that Heather wasn't in the same place that Daniel was. Is what I'm trying to get to. So this man has nothing but alibis. I would find it very foolish for him to get arrested, but I think with Chance being back on the force, thank you goodness, I think he's going to put all that together. He's going to end up arresting his ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, well, we'll see, because from what I understand, there's more twists and turns coming to the storyline. So I gotta give the writers kudos, because Y&R can be really slow sometimes, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, what else have we got? This is a filler episode, as you would call it. But this right here has been pretty interesting, and I'm wondering how, number one, even if Sharon get caught, what does that mean for the character? Because are they going to
Yeah.
send her off to Fairview and then she get out in a couple weeks, or is she done for? Because I can guarantee you Nick ain't going to want to fool with her. Phyllis is going to want to take her out.
Mm-hmm.
You
Well,
know.
maybe this might actually put Phyllis and Nick back together. To be honest, I wouldn't mind that either.
Hmm.
And I forget who just said it. Vicky, that was my other thought too. A couple of days ago, Vicky said maybe Heather's phone recorded everything. That would be an interesting twist. I would be here for all that, but either which way, this is great acting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this was a twist and turn in Sharon's like storyline, her mental health storyline. This is like incredible writing, incredible acting. But personally speaking, I don't want her to go to Fairview because everything that she's been doing has been calculated, cold-blooded and calculated on her part.
But,
she needs to be underneath the jail.
Right, but what does that mean for Sharon Case, though? I mean, she's a legacy character, so are they... Is she going to be taking a break for a while after this? Is they going to take her out and she's gone? That's what I mean, it'd be different if it was like a disposable character. You know
Like
what I
Luna
mean?
on Bold.
Like Luna, right. Luna was, she had a 1 year contract. But you talking
Yeah.
about somebody that's been on this show for 30 years.
You know what
Unless
I
she's
think?
ready to retire or something. Go ahead.
Because we also got to keep in mind, there's been characters on the show who served like prison sentences. Like think about Lily and what happened with Hillary. She ended up going to jail for that, and we got to see her in scenes where she went to jail. Like, I think, like, if they're going that route, they need to go ahead and have a scene where Sharon has to do her time for her crimes, and go from there. Like, I don't know what the plans would be for. Well, nobody knows the plans for Sharon Case.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if she wants to retire after 30 years, I mean, this would definitely be the storyline to do it. And be done with the character. I would completely commend her for that, but it wouldn't be too far fetched for her to like serve like prison sentence or go to jail for this.
Yeah,
but
I know. I mean,
that she did was calculated.
Yeah, technically she would go to jail for it. I mean, because she should. I'm just wondering what directions the writer's going to take her and the character. So, I guess we'll have to stay tuned and find out.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm enjoying it though.
Yeah, Young and the Restless has been pretty interesting the past couple weeks. Because for a while it was pretty slow.
And we got tired of seeing Cameron Kirshen's shirt. I still am.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say for Monday's episode, she acted alone for the most part. I think we're going to see more scenes where Cameron is not used. Like, 'cause she was trying to call on to this man, but everything that she did was on her own merit. She made these choices herself to try to frame Daniel. She can't even blame nobody but herself.
Let me ask you a question before we move over to Bowl. What do you think she should have done with all that evidence? Would it have been probably in the best interest to destroy immediately, burn the sheets, destroy the phone, all of that?
I absolutely, like you see with any other like intelligent criminals, they destroy, they burn the evidence, they bury the evidence. I mean, why couldn't she just reach out to Sheila and see what all she did when she did her crime?
Yeah. Sandra said, I just cannot see Sharon Case treated as a cold-blooded unaliver for a 30th anniversary. I mean, it depends if she wanted to go dark for her, for her anniversary thing, because Michelle Stafford's is coming up in a couple of weeks. So, and obviously they're going to tie those two together into the same storyline. I'm curious to see what Phyllis is going to, her anniversary thing is going to look like.
Me too. I cannot wait. But I mean, it's still a daytime soap. They could, and they love the dramatics. I can see them doing this for her anniversary. It's definitely not going to be nothing romantic, nothing anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
So I can definitely see them doing this exploration storyline
Yep.
for
I
Sharon.
agree. I agree. Hey, Rednecks, welcome in. I know he came in for Bold. I mean, he had started listening to Young and the Restless lately, but
Okay.
he's a Bold fan. So I know, and you came at the right time because we're about to switch over to the Bold and the Beautiful. But before we jump into this, how many people we got in the chat and how many likes we got, girl?
We got 135 in the chat and 62 likes.
All right, let's keep it going. Please give me some more likes. Hit that like button. It is free. Make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. Follow the other platforms. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook group, and we also on X and Threads and all those other places as well. So make sure you follow us over there also. All right. So let's go ahead. We're going to dive into the Bold and the Beautiful. I'm going to do the summary for Bold, and then we'll break down whatever storylines we got this week. All right. So for the Bold and the Beautiful for the week of September 30th through October 4th, Taylor tells a very stunned Ridge that she's dying, and Will gives Katie his unvarnished opinion on Bill. Anguished Ridge gives Taylor an ultimatum, and Brooke puts Steffy on notice. Ridge vows Taylor is no longer alone, and Katie brings Will into the Forrester fold. Taylor receives surprising diagnosis from Grace Buckingham, and Katie stuns Bill. And Taylor walks out on Grace, and Bill grills Brooke about her relationship with Ridge. Where you want to go, girl?
The bland and the boring. And one more quick thing. Redneck, so he's up at 3 a.m. listening to this live right now. You got, where are you, Redneck?
Yeah, he must be out of. That's what Angela said. Angela said 3 a.m. What is that, like 6 hours ahead? Are you in the UK or something?
Something. Well, we thank you, and we thank everybody, but 3 a.m.? My goodness, sir. Thank you.
Oh, he's overseas on an adventure.
Oh, okay. Stay safe.
Oh, he's in Italy. Nice.
Nice. Oh, he's listening to us from Italy. Enjoy the food. Enjoy the scenery for us.
And I know he probably has his wife there. So, and I know they're still in the honeymoon phase because they got married, I think. Was it earlier this year? Yeah, they're still newlyweds. So I think it was either early this year or last year, but I know they're newlyweds.
Well, enjoy that honeymoon stage. Enjoy yourselves in Italy. Thank you for listening at 3 a.m. That's awesome.
Yeah, have fun too. He said it's been fantastic. Great. Good to hear. All right, girl. The bland and the beautiful, as you call it.
Yeah. Bland and boring. Yep.
Let's see. Let's get Katie and Will out the way.
That's how I feel. I know we'll get to Katie and Bill in a second, but why does this woman want this boy over at Forcia Creation so badly? He has no passion. He has no drive. He has no motivation to be over there. He's not aspiring to be a designer. He don't know what he wants to do. But he saw the models. Now it's enough motivation for him. But what was the motivation for her to have him over there? If she knows he is not, in a mindset to really intern over there. And why can't he go over to work for his dad, his legacy?
Yeah, I didn't, you know where I stand with that whole thing. I mean, why didn't she just say, listen, Bill, he's looking for an internship. Let's give him some options. We have an option over at Forrester, or would you like for him to work over at Spencer? No, she just took it upon herself, even forcing it upon Steffi to pretty much make a decision, even telling her, well, he really doesn't have an interest in fashion. And Steffi's face was priceless. Like, really? Well, why does he want to work here?
Exactly. It was just like that. Why does she even have the nerve to hire him? If she's like, well, we gotta fill in a spot since Luna's not here, and that was the only reason why she did it. The only reason.
Mm-hmm.
But like, why was she? What was she trying to prep her son for? Like this isn't professional. You're going to go to the CEO of the company and be like, hey, my son, I want my son to take the internship. He has no motivation or he's not aspiring to be in fashion, but I want him over here. That's not professional. Mm-hmm. And thank you, Brett Next. He said, you guys are worth it. Thank you. But it's just, it was just pointless. She just wanted to keep eyes on her son. For whatever reason, she don't want her son to be influenced by Bill. I think that's really the key thing there. So she keeps him underneath her fingers and just and control where he lives at, where he works at, all of this while he's in LA and away from Bill. I think that's her real motivation right now.
Girl, I don't know what, I mean, to keep him over from his father and to keep an eye on him. But all he's doing is watching the young girls walk through in the hallway. And it's like, you're supposed to be working on your internship, not eyeballing the models.
I mean, he's a very handsome boy. I don't know how old he is. I think he's like 19, 20 years old. Mm-hmm. He's very handsome. So I can understand that the pretty girls are going to see him and he's going to take advantage. He's a billionaire son. More reason why he should be working underneath his father. But like that's the only thing that like she's helping him out with. She's helping him get dates. That's it.
Much. And obviously, like we've been saying, Elektra is coming. So of course they want him over there. But writers, you could have had him just up there. He could, just like Brooke and Bill, which we saw in today's episode, are working on something with Spencer and Forrester. Liam was working on something with Steffi, Spencer, and Forrester. You did not have to have Will working at Forrester in order to be over there just to run into Elektra.
Exactly. This boy was making effort on his own to go hang out with his mom at her job almost every chance he gets. Mm-hmm. He need to be an employee over there.
Nope.
So, and just like, let me go here. Just like Alicia Jackson just said, it's infested with Logans anyway. So he had nothing but family members over there. He did not need to be an employee over there. But it is what it is.
Girl. That whole thing is a mess. And then we have Will telling Bill about himself that, I ain't happy about y'all being together, but if you want to do this, don't do it because of me. You had to make up your mind, because one moment you want your parents back together and then the next moment you don't want your parents back together.
Yeah, it's... And then he running out of rooms. And wasn't it just like the other day, they were just in the living room over at his dad's house and like talking about the memories and like how mom is this great person. He was being rude to his dad. He said like, oh, dad, you really screwed this up.
You're right.
So, okay, are you, I mean, you called it out and he's trying to make up for it, and Will didn't mind that. So I'm like, now you're telling your mom privately, like, don't get back together with him for me, do it for you, which that's how it should be anyway. But he didn't have all his 2 cents, 3 cents for all his cents. And what happens with the two of them getting together?
Exactly.
Since he's been back.
Exactly.
And even...
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I was going to say, even prior to that, he didn't want his dad with Poppy. He was trying to pitch to have his mom take Poppy's position.
Mm-hmm. Well, the other thing is Katie gets on my nerves because, and I know you've been saying she's been playing Nancy Drew and Olivia Benson in order to get
Mhm.
Poppy out the way. You went through, what did you go through all of that for this summer? Only to tell Bill, I'm afraid we'll never get back together because I'm worried about Brooke.
And I'm like, Katie, you weren't worried about Brooke when you were crying over at Eric's house with your sisters about like how there's no other love of your life besides Bill, and that she, would love to put her family back together. She was just saying this. She was just saying this before that DNA test came out regarding Luna. She was just saying this. She was like trying to say like, oh, I was the only woman that shared the experience of raising a child with Bill, and Brooke was there then.
Right.
And they were cheering you on, telling you, yeah, you should get back with Bill. Now she wants to use this as an excuse because now all the attention's on her. When there was no attention on her from that man and he gave that to Poppy, she had a problem. And she was trying to hop in and out of the house whenever she wanted to, trying to nitpick and try to get information about Poppy. She put all this effort, all this energy into a man she doesn't want. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Exactly. It just doesn't. And you worried about Brooke talking about, well, she's not available right now. That's why you don't want to be, you're asking me. And I'm like, do you want this man or not?
Right. Like I'm over it. Like that put an innocent woman in jail because of all the effort that she made. Granted, it needed to happen, but
Mm-hmm.
still, like Poppy and Bill were perfectly fine. She was giving him the attention that he wanted. Granted, he didn't want her, but he was still getting the attention.
Mm-hmm.
And supposedly Katie had called herself moving on, but she was hopping in and out of that house, trying to mark her territory over at her old house and say like, oh, this is my security guard, this is my chef, this is this and this. Now this man is all for you and wants to be with you, but you want to use a random excuse because this whole Brooke thing is a random excuse. Brooke and Bill haven't been back together in however long.
Mm-hmm.
She's been up underneath the ridge. That's all she cares about right now.
Right.
So
even when, wait a minute, did she go back? No. When Pinecone was with Taylor the last time,
mm-hmm.
and Brooke was by herself. She didn't go running the Bill.
Exactly.
She was trying to get back with Ridge, follow that man all the way to Aspen.
Yep. Exactly. Like Katie got no excuse. And I saw your message, Melissa Spencer. I don't know why the chat is moving slow on my side. She said Will has no interest working at Spencer Publication. He isn't interested in business. And I'm like, what is this boy doing then? But anyway,
mm-hmm.
Poppy and Bill, like, they were in I don't want to say a relationship, but they were coupled up together. The woman was living over there.
Right.
Katie had no business putting her 2 cents in on what that man was doing if she wasn't interested in it.
Right.
What was the purpose of bringing up Brooke as her excuse?
Exactly.
To why you don't want to be with Bill? That was a random excuse. I don't even think she means that. I think she wants this man to continue chasing her.
Yep, that's what it sounds like to me. She liked the attention.
Mm-hmm.
It's
a Logan thing. If they're not fighting over a man, they lose interest in that man. And I think that's probably what happened with Carter. And that's why they're in the friend zone. Because there was no other woman trying to go after that man. But she saw a woman circling around Bill. All of a sudden now she wants to compete. Or then she wanted to compete and be Nancy Drew. Come on now.
Girl. Okay, so then we had a conversation with Bill and Brooke, and Bill is like, yeah, things ain't, it's a no-go with Katie. She's worried about you, and because you're not available right now, she thinks that if you are available, that you would be an issue. And the conversation switched from that to him asking about her and Ridge getting married. Now the interesting thing about that is she said, well, we really don't have to be married to be together. I'm like, well, you were the same one back in February saying that you wanted to design your own wedding dress.
Right. We were dreading them getting married to begin with. When they were when they were making this discussion, that's what we were saying months ago. Like, we'll do anything but watch that wedding. Now there's no talk about marriage or a wedding or anything like that.
Nope.
I wonder why.
Nope. 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 You are absolutely right. I wonder. That's a good question. I wonder why. But why, I'm wondering why Bill brought that up. Why do you care about what's going on over there? She came over to your house for a business meeting. And granted, he started talking about Katie. All Brooke had to say was like, look, you know what, let me talk to her. Don't worry about it. But he get all up into what's going on with her and Ridge.
Right. And just further feeds what Katie was saying. Like, he needs to lose all interest whatsoever in Brooke. Mm-hmm. And just be like, you know what, you're my son's aunt, and that's it. They don't even need to be friends, especially what they put Katie through. I don't get me wrong, I understand what Katie is coming from back then. I do. And I can understand why she wants to be hesitant. Mm-hmm. I do get that. Mm-hmm. However, she invested all this time and effort this summer in regards to the woman that he was with, because she felt that he deserved better. She didn't trust Poppy. This, and this. This is the same woman who was crying at Eric's house about this man. Mm-hmm. Like, you didn't move. She didn't move past what happened with him and Brooke. The boy is grown.
Right.
Will is grown. Like, what is she holding all this anyway, and all this this just doesn't make any sense, writers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't. So also at the beginning of the week, we had a conversation between Steffy and Finn, which was the only time we saw Finn this week, which was on Monday, when Steffy was trying to tell him that he's on, because he was like, Hope is not on my radar. And she said that, well, you're on her radar. And I'm like, did that sound a little insecure to you?
I feel that Steffy, the way that she kicked Hope out was very insecure and very petty.
Okay.
I think she's trying to not repeat her mother's mistake, so I feel like she's overcompensating. Mm-hmm. And figures that, I'm in power, let me go ahead and just, if I have the power to kick Hope out of that particular setting where my husband's at, I'm going to do it. I feel like she's trying to make up for her mother's mistakes in a way. Mm-hmm. That's why she kept reiterating to her mom, like, I'm not concerned about Hope. Like, and whenever she speaks with Hope, she's like, look, I'm not going to let a Logan try to take my man or go after my marriage, something to that degree. So I feel like that's the motivation. I think she needs to learn to trust her man, and every time he tells her.
Yeah, because I see Jenna was saying, I feel that Steffi has the right to stay on guard with Hope. I get it. But it's going to ultimately come up to Finn. And he is telling her, I'm not thinking about that girl.
Exactly.
So, I mean, Hope could do a song and dance if Finn doesn't engage. then Hope is making a fool out of herself.
Exactly, which she has been.
Pretty much. Except now when it comes to Carter. And next week is gonna be a little spicy.
We shall see.
Well, I feel like did you see the spoilers for next week?
Yeah, I did. I saw that little clip. And I saw the.
I'm talking about the full spoilers for the whole week. Okay. I'm actually looking forward to it. I need something.
Because I agree.
We ain't had nothing in a while on both.
When was the last full on love scene?
Steffy and Finn, which was mechanical.
Oh, that's right. The 2 popsicle sticks. That was when she got rescued.
Was that early last month?
Something where that girl got rescued.
Yeah, that was the second week of September when the whole Luna thing ended.
Oh, that wasn't even memorable, but any memorable love scenes this year?
Well, from what I understand, Carter and Hope is supposed to share a very passionate kiss next week. So I'm wondering what this gonna look like. I mean, eventually, if they do share that kiss or whatever, maybe we'll get some wall action later down the road.
We need some form of energy. Because these last 2 weeks, someone said in the chat room, this is just lackluster, just boring, just dull, just ugh. But I will say the actors have pretty good chemistry. I honestly feel they're just sticking Hope with any man that's not Thomas. And I wish they just go ahead and just bring Thomas back. Carter is filling in a position for Thomas. And the fact that they circled this woman back to Liam, spoiler alert, is just comical to me, just given the fact that she broke up her marriage. It would just make more sense for Thomas and Liam to compete. I feel like Carter is just going to just get his heart broken again by another Logan.
That's what I think as well. I mean, we could be wrong, but putting Liam back in the middle of that, and because Liam and Hope got history, Carter could be out. He could be a hot little fling for a minute. But if she decides, you know what, I'm going to get back with my ex-husband. We have a kid together. Everybody like us together. The Lope fans are going to love it. So, I don't know. But I am interested in seeing what happened. Now, here's the other thing that went on this week with Carter and Hope is the fact that Carter wants to intertwine Hope for the Future in with Brooke's bedroom line. And I'm like, why would you do that? You need to fix the problems in Hope for the Future before you put it in the middle of a line that's successful.
Right. That was just very I don't get his vision for that. I don't think Steffy would get his vision for that either. You might as well just say that Hope needs to be the face of the bedroom line or one of the models for the bedroom line. I mean, it would suit her better than what she's doing for Hope for the Future at this point in time. And yes, Mira, I do. She asked us, do you guys think that Hope is going to use Carter? And I honestly think so.
Of course. The spoilers were saying that when they said that Hope was going to get a new man, it was going to help not only, putting her in a position of having a relationship, but also to help save her line. And my thing is, as COO, are you going to even ask Ridge and Steffy about whether or not they even want to do this? You putting plans together, telling Hope, telling Brooke. I'm like, really, Carter? You really trying to spearhead this adventure, huh?
I see that. V. Carter, that's something I've always wanted. V. Carter said, send YNR's Elena to Bull to be Carter's love interest and work in the hospital with Finn, Lee, and Bridget. Another setting for Bolt. writers, producers, we know you're listening. We hope you're listening. But that would bring Elena over to Bold, especially since these are sister shows. You do crossovers anyway. This is not going to last between Hope and Carter, especially when they throw Liam in the mix.
Girl,
Yeah.
you know what? See, they really need some creative writers. Even if they didn't technically or physically cross her over. Okay, so say they did. They did it briefly. She came out to LA when she splashed Nate in the face.
Yep.
Have her come back out to LA for whatever reason, right? And she happened to come and meet Carter. Okay. They kind of connect or whatever. She goes back to Genoa City, and we could see the two of them having phone calls, like a long distance something. He'd be like, "Baby, I'm coming into town to see you," or whatever. And Carter fly out, and without anybody in Genoa City knowing it, they go get a room at the GCAC, cut up a rug, cut down some curtains, and tear up some sheets, and paint the walls or whatever. And then he come on back, or they have breakfast the morning after. They could, y'all, come on, writers, y'all sister shows.
Exactly. That's the shakeup they need. V-Car, we on the same page. I'd be perfectly fine with Elena coming on the show. I mean, they bring on pointless people on the show anyway. Didn't they just have Christine and Danny?
Yep.
Lip syncing terribly to his own record. And they did that for a couple of days. They could bring on Elena and actually serve a purpose on the show.
That would be great, actually. I would love to see that with Carter. But anyway, we got Hope and Carter. And he wants to see Hope in her lingerie.
He's the only man in the world. It must be a very dry season for him. Because we see the lingerie she be having on, and even Finn was like, "Nah, I'm good."
I know, right, girl? So I don't know. We'll see what happens with those two next week. I need to make sure that y'all do this right, because other than that, I'm gonna get the ick.
Yeah, if they mess us up, better yet, if they give us like these little half, baked love scenes, I'll be very upset because I'm like, what is going on with soaps? If like you got two people who've had spicy love scenes and you put them together and you're going to give us something that's half baked, they might as well just keep it because it's not worth seeing.
What also is not worth seeing that got on my ever-loving nerves this week is Taylor Hayes. Because it started the week off where the girl was not minding her business, peeping around corners, happened to see Ridge and Brooke, and then she had a whole episode and fell out on the floor. Ridge wanted to take her to the doctor because she was unconscious for a hot second. And she's like, "Nope, I ain't going nowhere. Don't call no ambulance. Don't take me to the doctor. And by the way, Ridge, you know what? I'm dying. And yeah, you can't tell nobody."
So she thinks. This woman right here is just pitiful. Yes, Sandy. Taylor is looking pitiful. I'm upset with today's episode. That was my big thing there. I'm like, this woman is falling out, passing out at public facilities where what if Reg didn't see her? It could have been anybody, and they would have called the ambulance. They would have, whatever the case is. It could have been Steffy. Are you going to tell your daughter this? But it was Reg. So she had no problem sharing this information with Reg and keeping, once again, secrets is a form of intimacy. Keeping this secret with Reg. And he's like, "Look, you need to go see a specialist." She's like, "No, I saw my doctor, and I'm a doctor. I know what this is. I know what the symptoms are. I don't have to do all of that." Rich was like, I'm so glad. He was like, "Look, you gonna go see this cardiologist. I'm glad we got to see Grace Buckingham. And I'm glad that she let it be known that Taylor is stuck on stupid. They may call it, they're going to call it heartbroken syndrome or heartache syndrome, whatever they call it is.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly don't think that's what she has. It's stuck on stupid syndrome. And the cure is to get a man off of herself.
My thing is, I was just as frustrated, and I normally don't take Ridge's side hardly ever. But I was just as frustrated as he was, because there was some points that he got mad with that girl. He was like, why are you acting like this?
And then she get mad at the cardiologist about positive results. Who does that?
Girl, listen, I know people who made a, you think something wrong, you're going into the doctor, and they're hoping for good news. You get good news and you're hoping for it to be bad news. Matter of fact, you throw it back into the cardiologist's face and says, nope, you're wrong. You don't know what the French toast you're talking about. I'm going to listen to the doctor at the clinic who did not do any tests back over in Europe.
Exactly. Like a clown. Yes, yes, I use a Jackson. A clown. Straight up clown. Who does this? All Grace had said, like, look, you don't have heartbroken syndrome. You are just a woman who is still stuck on this broken record, and it's to the point now where you're passing out for no reason, and you could have been and had a man all to yourself instead of being worried about this man. That's basically what Grace Buckingham then told her. And you would have thought, she'd be fine. She could be with her grandkids, her family. But for whatever reason, Taylor is upset. For what I think she's more upset the fact that Ridge heard that diagnosis.
Girl, my thing is with her is that she mad at the messenger. Her body told on her.
Yep.
Your body told on you. It wasn't like Grace just pulled this out the sky somewhere. She took your blood work. Your levels were not anything conducive to what you thought it was. And she's telling you that's not what it is. No, you're wrong. Well, your body says otherwise. Your body says you're fine. Maybe something else is going on emotionally, but your body is like, no, we ain't had no heart attack. I don't know what you're talking about.
And she is hanging on to what a doctor in Europe told her. And she came all the way to the United States. And I think they said Grace was one of the top, cardiologists?
Yeah.
And she rushed you in because your son's about to marry her daughter. She actually ran lab tests.
Which costs money.
Which costs money. And got you the results, and you go throw it back in that woman's face. She could have been and helped a whole other patient. She chose to help you, and you're going to throw in her face her expertise doesn't basically mean anything, and that you know better, and then you storm off with the positive results.
Girl, I was like, are you crazy? And then she asked for those tests to come back stacked. So she had to flip her whole schedule to get you in, take the blood work. Then you wanted the results back quickly. She did that for you too, only for you to throw the results back in her face and tell her she don't know what she's talking about. I'm a psychiatrist. I should know these things. Well, ma'am, maybe you should. And I got to give it to Grace, because Grace was like, unfortunately, you're wrong, ma'am, because we've been doing more and more work. Yes, that does exist.
Yeah. And Jenna, yes, I understand it's a real heart condition, and yes, people can expire from that. I understand that. But the way that Grace was saying, like, hey, this is manageable. It's not as bad as it seems. All this woman needs to do is just get a man. That's really what she just needed to tell Taylor. Like, get yourself a man. Stop worrying about Ridge. Because she kept looking over at Ridge. And Ridge was kind of quiet. He was like, okay, maybe I am the cause of all this.
Right.
But even with that result, they both looking at this woman crazy. Like, why are you upset at this result? Why are you telling the specialist that she's wrong?
Okay, so
And
this
even,
goes back to what we were speculating earlier when you came in my chat. So
mm-hmm,
remember we were saying how we don't have any proof that Taylor even went to some doctor in Europe. It's all her
exactly.
telling folks, and she was hard pressed not to see any doctors. She didn't want Lee to do anything. She didn't want nobody to know about this. She wanted to just walk around and have this whole thing right to herself. And then, but you tell Ridge about it when he saw you collapsed on the floor. My thing is, I'm wondering, do you think that this is something that she actually saw the doctor about? Because I don't think any doctor would make a diagnosis like that unless they did tests. And like Grace said, the doctor in Europe didn't even do any follow up tests.
Exactly. I agree. I don't think that she went to go see a doctor because when the new Taylor came on screen, her only motivation for going back to LA was after she saw Ridge and Brooke. Nothing about her heart, nothing about spending time with her family. That was her only motivation.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't learn about like what was going on with her health until a couple of weeks, 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And this woman's crying over pictures and saying like, oh, I want to be with my family. I don't have much time left. I have all of this and this. Okay, so you get the result that you should be hoping for. Like, hey, this is manageable in treatment once you get a man. But she's so stuck on what this supposed doctor had told her over in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
We see like no flashback scenes, like nothing in regards to the doctor that she saw. I can't remember if Lee had said like, did you get any follow-ups? I think only thing she asked for Lee in regards to a specialist was just referrals, and I don't even think she saw the specialist that Lee had suggested. It was only until she then passed out over at Forrester Creations that Ridge forced her to go see a cardiologist.
So Jenna is trying her best in capital letters to make us see that he promised her that he would never leave her and protect her heart, and if she would just give him another chance, and then he dumped her. This been going on for the last 30 years. At some
Yeah,
point, Taylor has to just say, you know what? I got to walk away from this Waffle King.
yeah. I mean, he can make all the promises he wants. He made promises to his kids too that he never really sticks by. Like, and they managed to go about their lives okay. And on top of that, she of all people knows how this particular man operates for her not to get her feelings so wrapped up at this stage in her life, to the
Mm-hmm.
point where she passing out on the floor at a Forrester Creations, and her heart's hurt. Like, come on, this woman had husbands and other love interests, and she's been off screen. So, and this is what the writers kill me with. This woman has never had like any love interest, no nothing over in Europe. It's just Ridge. That's all she can focus on is just Ridge. That's it.
Yeah, I don't even know why they keep going back and forth over this man. And he, over at the house, you know how he be giving them weird. Torsten is good at facial reactions.
Yeah, he
And
is.
he be having me laughing sometimes. But she looking at him, he was like, I'll be there for you. And I promise I won't tell Steffi and the kids. And I'm like, so you're going to keep lying? Because
See,
eventually, Steffi's going to try to figure out, because her mama ain't acting like she normally acts. So she's going to question it. And according to the spoilers for next week, Ridge is going to be struggling to keep that secret from Brooke and Steffi.
which really isn't much of a secret. This, like, I don't, see, secrets is a form of intimacy. And this is her way of having this man wrapped around her little finger. And this is why it's hard for me to believe that she even trusted whatever doctor she saw over in Europe. because a doctor, or actually just a person in general, would want to get the opinion from other specialists. She wouldn't be fighting so hard to try to keep this particular secret because she's embarrassed, which is really stupid. And I think Rednacks has said that Taylor never moved on, and that's her own fault. That's really her own fault. She knows how this man operates. He is a waffler. Why is she heartbroken over this waffler? That, like, no. Like, there's no point to keep this as a secret.
Well, and the other thing is, it's a disrespect to her own profession. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, you're a mental health professional. You should know, even for yourself, you need help sometime. You still got emotions. You still have your own mental health to deal with. And for her to say, oh, I don't believe that. Could you imagine? I know she's probably had clients that said, oh, I don't believe that. You telling me I got a problem? And she'd
Yeah.
probably be like, yeah. Now somebody else is telling you you might have a problem and that you need to deal with it, and you just gonna disregard it. You think I need therapy? Ain't that's what you probably tell some of your clients?
She needs a man. She needs anybody that can, like, divert her attention away from what Bridge is doing with Brooke. That would be the cure-all for her. And Belinda, yeah, she needs a taste of Carter. That's a stress test that he would definitely get the heart racing, the heart pumping, because Ridge won't be able to compete with that.
I've been seeing some rumors about her and Bill.
Oh, okay, it's anybody but Ridge. I think once she gets a man and gets a man attention on her, that's going to resolve whatever issues that she's having.
Yeah, I'm so over this. You know, I mean, if this is truly her just wanting attention from Ridge, that is highly manipulative. When you use, and I think there's even a term or a condition for that, when you use an illness to get the attention of somebody else. You know what I mean? Because
Is it
all
like
this,
Munchausen's or something like that?
maybe something like that. Yep, that's what I think. And so for her, because every time before the whole thing that Grace told her, Ridge would be, oh, I'm gonna care for you. I'm gonna be here for you, and he's holding her hand, and she just melting like a piece of chocolate.
Yep. And that's Ridge's own fault too.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't it just like 2 weeks ago, he was like hugging up on her hips and rubbing her back and everything.
Her thigh, girl, like, her thigh.
her thigh and everything. Well, he had his hands on her hips too. Like this right here, and rubbing her kneecaps and everything. Like, he likes to have this attention from both of these women. So he's loving the fact that he can kind of be there for the rescue for Taylor, even though he don't care about her like that. And V. Carter, yes, I highly agree. It's a disrespect to fans to be in this triangle for 30 years. I highly agree with that. Let this movie move on.
I agree. I'm over it. Why did you bring this girl back here just to throw her back into a triangle with Ridge and Brooke?
Yeah, but she you know what else could help her? I think I said in the group chat, get her some friends. Get her, like, anything that could divert her attention away, thinking about Ridge. Like, that was her only motivation to go to LA anyway. It was about Ridge, not her kids or her grandchildren.
Bree, they can't even give Hope any friends. They can't even give Steffy any friends.
Look, they will forever have love interests. At least they had no problem moving on. Now, granted, Steffy was stuck on stupid, like her mother was, about Liam, but then eventually she moved on, and it cured her with a new man. And if we just get Taylor a man that can just be for her, that would be ideal. And these men, as far as Hope, they'll forever want to circle around this girl for whatever reason, except for Finn. But
Girl, you see J Money in the chat.
Yeah, hold, Jay, you just popping in at the 11th hour. We've been talking this whole time. You could have had all this stuff to say and on the live, but you want to talk this mess in the chat, sir? Come on now. But no, I kid, Jay. But it's just the fact that stop trying to put Carter with Taylor. I'm trying to help out Taylor's heart. I'm trying to help her get over this thing, this 30-year thing that she had with Ridge. I'm trying to throw her with anybody. Bill, too. Throw her with RJ. Throw her with
RJ.
anybody. They not related.
I don't care.
Anybody.
RJ.
Anybody.
RJ gonna be over there with Electra and Will.
I mean, Eric, anybody but Ridge. That was her only motivation. Only motivation.
Yeah, that whole thing, she just looked like a lost puppy. You know, I mean, and she got embarrassed. And then the thing is, my life is happy. I don't have any problems. I'm not sad. Well, it's something.
Yeah, like, girl, it's called get yourself a man.
Go get the cobwebs knocked out.
Exactly. She could use a Carter. And yes, J Money, I'm going to throw that in there so the writers can listen to. And as far as anybody trying to stop Cope or Harder or Hope and Carter getting together, that's Bradley Bell, as we see in the previews for next week.
You know what? I'm interested. I'm wondering because Liam is supposed to put an offer to Hope on the table next Friday.
Because it's been a while for him too.
He realized that ain't nothing coming from Steffy, especially after Finn saved Steffy. That girl ain't going nowhere.
He gonna go back to his old faithful, but he said that he cannot get with Hope because Thomas got in her.
Well, it's been over a year and a half now, and Thomas is in Europe, so he probably like, you know, I guess I can get over it now.
I'm like, see, and the only reason they're using Carter is because Thomas is not there, because that would be the triangle go between right there. Her fighting her feelings for Thomas and her trying to fight her feelings for all that stuff that she's been through with Liam. Like, she would be a fool to go back to Liam. She really would. She really would. I was talking all this mess about having a one-woman man. I'm like, girl, you go into the wrong person for that. But, yeah.
Jay is still talking to you in the chat.
Bree, you not trying to help Taylor. You're trying to help yourself to Carter and Carter away from help. No, we were even see, you just jumping at the 11th hour. We were talking about we would like for Elena and Carter to get together because we know it's not going to last with Hope and Carter, especially if you throw Liam in the mix.
The Lope fans are going to be, man.
See, that's who you need to be going up against right there is the Lope fans. They look. I would be perfectly fine with Elena and Carter getting together. I would like for put Lee and Carter together because she needs them cobwebs.
It's a lot of people that ain't had. You got Lee, Taylor, Carter. Haven't had none in a while. Liam and Hope. The only person that's been getting some is Brooke and Ridge. And Steffy and Finn. That's it. And maybe Donna and Eric.
I wasn't even thinking. I was about to say Bill and Poppy were at least getting it in. And I mean, even RJ and Luna got it in. Well, actually, Luna got it in with 2 people this year. And Lee ain't had none. Like, they need to, help.
Wait a minute. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Maybe Jack, broke her off a little bit before he disappeared. She been calm lately.
Yeah, well, that is a good point. We keep forgetting. Yeah, she's been really calm and understanding to the point where she's supporting her sister.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Did Jack, maybe, made some pit stops a couple of times before he decided to disappear? She was looking at him some kind of way at that bar that night.
See, V. Carter was right earlier in the chat saying that they need to listen to us. They need to have like a group of like our soap fans so we can help pitch some ideas. I agree with that, V. Because like we need some behind the scenes scoop or something. We need to see like Lee like getting herself ready for like her little side piece to come to the house. Like it could have been like Justin.
Girl,
Like
wait,
if
put
it,
them in a triangle with Justin and Jack.
oh my goodness. Jack don't stand a chance, but
Oh, wait a
but
minute. Maybe she said, I'm going to try Poppy's lifestyle and I'll have Jack come through, and then next week I'll have Justin come through.
see, writers, we need to see this. We need to understand like why Lee has had a change of heart because this is completely dramatic. This is a dramatic change because she has been moving like one note when it came to her sister, when it comes to everybody. And all of a sudden she's smiling. We see other facial expressions with Lee. She's happy. Like she's caring and understanding. Not to say that she wasn't before, but it's just moving a little bit more graceful this time around.
Mm-hmm.
And we just want to know if she's getting it in. We need to know about it, writers.
Yeah, she been real calm lately, so who knows? It could be Jack, Justin, or both.
I'd be perfectly fine. Like, yeah, she needs some cobwebs knocked down. If she has, we need you're robbing the viewers of that. I'm just saying, writer. Um, Especially since like we're not getting any romance or any love stories before. We need to get a love story for Lee. Um, but as far as for Taylor, get her somebody outside of Ridge, like anybody, like the busboy, Deacon. Put her in a love triangle with Deacon and Sheila. Boom.
Oh, I don't know about that. Sheila would cut her off at the knees.
Look. Have fun while you can. Get them cobwebs knocked off and fix your broken heart and get over Ridge. Anything like if Tom was alive, I would have said go with Tom. Like anybody.
Shoot, maybe even Hollis if he was still around, girl. That young
Right?
boy.
Exactly. She needs just a new, like a different type of medication, some form of peen, and I think that would help with her issues. It's been a while for her.
Well, we do know it's been about 7 months for Hope, and I don't know how long it's been for Carter. I'm thinking maybe a few months because we found out him and Katie broke up. Probably around May or June, I think it was. Um, but yeah, it's been 7 months for Hope. So who's to say that maybe Miss Hope Logan is about to ready to tear down the wall? So
I mean, with them hot fantasies that she been having, I mean, and breaking the sweat, like this woman been in heat for a while since Thomas then left her. And I mean, if that's going to help, buy her time, go ahead and go with Carter. That's fine. It's going to be a waste of time for Carter. Well, maybe not a waste of time because he'll be benefiting a little bit too. But she's
mm-hmm.
not going to really want a relationship with that man, especially
Girl, well,
when
he
Liam's in
decided
the
to ask
mix.
her out on, which I did like that because what also happened this week between those two is that Carter asked her out. We didn't get to see dates with Thomas except that one day toward the end of the relationship when Douglas cooked dinner. But it was all bedroom action for the most part of the Thope relationship that we got. But Carter was like, hey, let me take you out and maybe I get you some lunch over at your dad's restaurant at Il Giardino. So I'm like, okay, he trying to do, the little courting thing, I guess. Even though he probably gonna get his heart broken since Liam is throwing his hat in the ring, but
Yeah, it's just anytime they throw Liam in the mix, that Liam usually always gets his girl, and thank you, Rednecks, for pointing it out. Like, I would like to see Carter get married. He's officiated all these different weddings for all people. Like, he's officiated majority of Hope and Liam's weddings. Um, I that's why I would love for him to have a genuine love interest. Like, if they crossed over Elena, like, I can see them, getting married. And like, he wanted to have a family. This girl don't know what she wants.
what about Grace and Carter?
No. Nope. Grace and Bill, possibly.
Grace
but
and
Grace
Bill?
and Carter, no.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway. Oh man, did we cover everything with Bold? We made more fun out of Bold this week than actually Bold was.
Yeah, like I think we covered everything with that. I mean, we have to make it more interesting than what we saw this week.
I know, right? All right, so let's go ahead and do our segments, our flip the script segment, and who's taking several seats, our star, and our pickle of the week. So for the young and the restless, what's your flip for this week? What you flipping?
Ooh, I would flip and I'm trying to think. I would actually flip where Sharon and Lucy and Daniel were at that park where, like, instead of Lucy questioning, I would have loved for either Lucy or Daniel to be like, Sharon is questioning were the whereabouts about Heather, and I want them to continue to be suspicious versus them letting that go.
That makes sense. If I had to flip anything, man, it was that whole Wednesday episode was on point for me, so I really didn't want to flip anything there. Um, mm, Only thing is, I would say with Audra was to have her sign something that she can't, come back after the company or anything like that. So, but, obviously we're going to get something with that next week. But I can't really think of a flip for, I mean, Young and the Restless has been pretty good this week.
Yeah.
So, because usually when you want to flip something, you wish it was different. And I really enjoyed, for the most part, a lot of what happened, on this week's episode of Y&R. So that's all I could come up with.
Yeah, me too. Like, it was well done.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, and then what you got for Bold?
I'm trying to think. Sandra had a question. She said, when will there be another trivia night? We don't know yet. But as far as the flip for Bold, I wanted Grace to cuss out Taylor and be like, look, I am the expert. You did not go to a specialist over in Europe. Take it and leave it. I felt that she was being a little too passive. Professional, I understand, but knock some sense into Taylor.
Right. And my flip would have been Ridge telling her, I'm not keeping these secrets to you. Either you talk to the kids, or, I mean, especially at this point, we found out that, yes, it's a condition that can be serious, but it's manageable, that you can be around for another several years. You know what I'm saying? So either you go have a conversation with the kids, or I will. I'm not going to be locked into this mess with you.
That's a good flip.
Yeah, because she getting on my nerves. You better not tell Brooke. You better not tell Steffy. You know what? How about you tell them, and if you don't, I will. I mean, lobbing him into that, I'm over Taylor at this point.
Yeah.
Okay, who taking seats on the Young and the Restless?
Victoria, Lily, and Audra.
Mm-mm. Yeah, I agree. Sharon need to take several seats, but she's the highlight of the show this past week.
Yep.
And yeah, I agree with you with Lily and Audra. Even Victoria, trying to make it like
Yep.
it's all Billy's fault.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Who's taking seats on Bold?
Well, we already know Taylor's going to take a seat, but we're going to throw Katie in that mix too. And
Mm-hmm.
Will.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yep, I can't. You didn't pick the three, so yeah, yeah, that's the only ones I can come up with, especially Taylor.
Yeah.
Her and Sharon, they both in the same profession. They both need counselors of their own.
Dewan. He said, I just wish Taylor was hot.
No,
You don't,
you know
you
what?
don't,
Dewan has been running that campaign, not my Taylor, all in my Facebook group.
he loved himself some Krista Allen.
I know.
Okay. Mm. Look, like she did other work. She was on other, you know, primetime networks if you want to see her work.
Yeah, just look up her name and type in Emmanuel.
Yeah, there you go.
Um,
That would cure your fix.
yep. And I guarantee you it won't be daytime TV.
Nope.
Um, yeah, so yeah, Taylor got to take a seat, in my opinion. Who is
Mm.
your star of the week? YNR.
Obviously, I'll say Sharon Case, but to be honest, there was a lot of great performances. I think Michael Grazade, who plays Daniel, he had a great performance.
Okay, and I'll take the
Um,
other one. You can't take all of them, Bree. Come on now,
okay,
girl.
okay,
You don't leave me somebody.
go for it.
I'm gonna give it to Michelle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that girl been cutting up. She's a great actress. I'm gonna give it to
Yes,
Michelle. What about Bold?
there was a star of the week. Okay, well, I guess I'll give it to Grace. It was nice to see, you know, other characters on the show. I liked seeing Grace this week.
I'm gonna give it to Torsten because of the fact that I like the fact that he got real irritated with Taylor. I was
Yep,
cracking up when he got irritated with her. I'm like, I feel that too. She getting on my nerves too, Ridge. And I usually
yep,
don't side with Ridge, so obviously he must have been doing something if I actually took his side in this moment.
yep. I agree.
And then your pickle of the week, Young and the Restless.
Um, the pickle would be Lily and Victoria this week. I don't want to hand Audra the pickle because I mean that's only that might benefit her a little too much. If you get off of the pickle, but Lily and Victoria, and I'm also going to throw this in for the writers. It's like we were teased a little bit in regards to possibly Paul coming back. So I'm going to throw the writers in the mix if they do not bring Paul back with this storyline.
Yeah. I'm gonna give my pickle to Adam. I'm like, dude, don't be playing two in the middle.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And then you're gonna lie to Chelsea talking about, oh, Sally knows that, I'm into you. No, she don't. She was just telling you she got feelings for you.
Yep.
So, pickle on Bold.
The writers.
You're gonna get a whole writing team.
Yeah, and that includes Lawrence St. Victor because he's part of the writing team. Um,
And so is
because
Heather Tom too.
she is. So she wrote this terrible storyline for
Yeah, I
herself.
saw an article about her. Yeah, both of them are behind the scenes.
Why she write this terrible storyline for herself? Anyway, the writing team. That's terrible. The writing team who wrote Taylor's storyline and Katie's storyline, they're making her look ridiculous. And yeah, and they're also making Steffy insecure. Yeah, I'm gonna throw the whole writing team under the bus.
If I had to pick one person, it would be Taylor. She got on my nerves this week.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Oh God. I mean, and then the way she treated Grace too. I'm like, girl, I would have said, girl, get out of my office. Bye. You had me do all this stuff and rush and test and whatnot, and then you gonna sit up here and talk crazy to me? And I get paid to tell people about their hearts? No.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Just disrespectful. She could have helped a whole other patient.
Mm-hmm. All because you don't want to be embarrassed. Probably because you got caught up and you never saw a doctor in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just us speculating, so we don't have any proof of that. Yep.
Mm.
All right, girl. We had a good one. We had fun this episode as well. And yes, I will let Trish know that you guys are sending her love and sympathies and things like that. She's hanging in there, taking it day by day, and she's going to take a little bit of time, of course, as to be expected. And like she said, that it'll probably be a few weeks before she be back. So we'll hold it down until she get back. And Keish, she'll be actually leaving for deployment probably after the 19th. Yeah, she had a little bit of a procedure before she had to go, but she's doing fine. And she'll be on her way of deployment probably toward the end of the month. So, but I like to keep you guys updated with what's going on with the crew.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I'm still here, of course.
And we're here, and then J Money, he pops in. So yeah, we're here having a good old time with y'all.
He just popped in to get on me about Carter and Hope. How dare you, sir?
I know, right? With his crazy self.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you guys. Also, stay tuned for the full spoilers because I did a teaser this morning on Y&R. But stay tuned for the full spoilers for The Young and the Restless and The Bold and the Beautiful for the week of October the 7th through the 11th. And until then, we will see you all soon. Bye, guys.
Bye, you guys. Have a good